So I've got some great H1Z1 news to tell you today in full HD hamster potato quality, because I ripped this straight from their live stream. The guys in the corner are not me, by the way. They are two of the developers of H1Z1 who were live streaming this about a week ago. But this is basically all the footage I've got, and it's apparently disturbing my dog because you can hear her barking in the background. Hang on. I'm back. At least I don't have to go on walks anymore, at least. I'm kidding, I didn't put my dog down. I am not kidding about this though. H1Z1 has now got a release date of the 15th of January, where it's going to go into early access on Steam for $90.99. You don't have to buy it then, because when it goes into open beta, it's going to be free to play for basically anybody to play. As you'll see here, this footage is sort of early access. Some of these base animations aren't quite right yet. That zombie there was actually grabbing onto the character, so if you get too close to zombies, they'll actually do that, and then other zombies will come and attack you until you've managed to shake your way free. So if you encounter a horde of zombies in the game, then they're trying to make it so you do have to run away from them, because you're not going to have an absolute ton of ammunition and weapons and everything. So this is what's confirmed for release on the 15th. And there's going to be full weather system, so there's going to be snow, and if you're in snow, you've got to wear warmer clothing to actually protect yourself from the cold, so the environment does impact your character. If it's raining, for example, you will catch a cold if you sit out in it for too long. There's full crafting, base building, and boarding, so you can actually, you could board up this supermarket if you wanted to, and stop other people from going into it. So all of that is already built into the game, and they've been showing this over the live stream for quite a long time now. But if you want to make yourself a farm, in fact, this footage I think later on shows you the base that they'd been building just out of this town, so that's, if you haven't seen it already, it is quite cool what they've done. There's 16 weapons in the game, including a bow, an arrow, for hunting. There's going to be 3 vehicles to start off with. There's the truck, which he's going to spawn in a second because he's obviously a developer. There's going to be a police car, which is going to be really rare with proper sirens, and there's going to be a pickup truck you can of course sit in the back of, and I think you can put just tons of loot and gear into the vehicle when you go up on your supply runs. There's going to be different game modes on release, so there's going to be like a hardcore mode where zombies are only killed by headshots, there's no crosshair, virtually no HUD, you can only look in first person. There's obviously going to be a normal mode like you can see here where you can switch and see in third person vehicles and stuff like that. All the servers are going to be run initially by Sony, although they're going to add in private ones later on, and these servers, because it's Sony, I mean they've got absolutely tons of money, they're designed to run like 1,000 players at once. Now obviously, because the map is I think 64 square kilometers on early access, it's not going to have 1,000 players because there'll be just people everywhere, but they're going to slowly like figure out what's the best number of players per kilometer. And unlike DayZ, where there's like a limit on the number of players, that really isn't an issue with this game because it's obviously based off PlanetSide 2 engine, so I mean, as you can see, it runs really great with lots of people on there. I say really great, PlanetSide 2 doesn't actually run incredibly well when there's big battles and stuff going on, but I think for this game, because they've been working really hard on optimizing it, because of course H1Z1 is coming out on PlayStation 4 as well, I mean in a town like this, watching live stream, I mean they've only got like 10 people on the server, but this town, which is obviously a lot more detailed, a lot more zombie looking than DayZ is, I can tell from the gameplay is getting at least 50 frames per second, because I mean they're running a 60 frame per second stream, so it wouldn't surprise me if you got 40-50 frames per second in towns easily with a full server in this game. I would expect that at least. And the other great thing about Sony run the servers is that I think cheating is probably going to be really quite minimal in this game compared to DayZ, Rust and Warzy, if anybody still plays that crap, whatever it's called. But if you look at the number of cheats for PlanetSide 2, there's virtually none. In fact, if you Google PlanetSide 2 cheats, I don't think there's any public cheats actually available for the game. Because the thing is, if you get banned from one of Sony's servers, not only do they ban your IP, but they also ban popular VPNs as well, so you can't change your IP to get back in. So even if you buy another copy of the game, you are permanently banned from the game if you cheated, which is really important in a survival game. Like if somebody aimbots in something like Battlefield or PlanetSide, it doesn't matter too much because you know you can just respawn and it hasn't affected you. But in this, where you're sort of traveling and you got to collect lots of gear, having minimal cheaters is so important to the game, and it'll never get fixed in DayZ, but it could be really little in this. Of course, it may not be. It may be cheater heaven. Who knows? But I don't see anything sort of fundamentally wrong with H1Z1. Like, when you look at DayZ standalone, there's things which are you know require a huge amount of work to actually fix. Like, for example, torches just going through walls and like the sun just lighting up the inside of buildings because it doesn't like isolate off different areas. Now, that's a really fundamentally wrong thing with DayZ Standalone. That's wrong with the engine. You know, having terrible frame rate, not optimizing your PC properly like none of the Armour games do. That's something that's really wrong with those games that, you know, is nearly impossible for them to fix. Limits on server numbers, same thing. Lag with the inventory system, as you get in DayZ Standalone. All these things are things which I don't think they're ever going to be able to properly fix. But I don't see, having watched all the live streams, anything like this in this. I mean, some people might not like the art style. It's more sort of like a sort of fun approach to things than DayZ Standalone has, which, you know, if you want something realistic, nothing really competes with DayZ Standalone. But I don't see anything that they can't actually do in the long run. But I guess we'll have to see. I mean, you'll have to watch a couple of videos on YouTube before you buy it and see whether or not it's, you know, because the proof is in the pudding. And you don't know the pudding till you've eaten it. Ah, that was a penis-flavoured cake. Damn, I thought it was apple. We're coming up to their base up here, which they just built outside the town. Somewhat unrealistic, this. In the actual game, I think you'd probably have to hide your base and not leave it totally open, because it would be full of people. Not just wolves, which I think was a little bug with the animals at the moment. He'd actually set up a little farm as well in that barbed wire off area. So farming is in the game, and he's going to show you in just a second how you can actually, like, graffiti is just base text on this. But I think you can pretty much put any acceptable image. So if you wanted a lumpy space princess base, I guess you could have one. But you are going to get raided. Speaking of raiding, killing people, there are a couple of things in this game which will persist, because there are issues in all of the survival games, basically, at the moment. Firstly, when this becomes free to play, it will, to an extent, become pay to win. Because I can guarantee you, as much as they'll keep most of the paid stuff to character customization and things, there will be elements like the airdrops, like you can call in an airdrop, and then if you get to it and nobody else gets to it, then you get those paid for items, like it's a paid for airdrop of stuff. That introduces an element of pay to win, especially since you keep those things after death that you've actually paid for, rather than just losing them if you just played for free. Secondly, the game will be 95% kill on sight, as every other survival game out there at the moment is, because I don't think any developer really understands what causes this issue. So let me just explain. Kill on sight exists because it's the easiest playstyle. Now obviously kill on sight, a little bit people get confused by it because they're like, well, that's the most fun part of the game, that's what makes it sort of scary going to plus places. It is, but it shouldn't be as high a ratio of people killing on sight as it actually is, where it's basically just a deathmatch game. As H1Z1 currently is, most of your encounters with people are you'll see somebody, you won't bother using the wave animation or the in-game chat to talk to them, you'll shoot them dead and you'll loot their backpack. Why does this happen? Well, it's because there's no worth to people's lives and there's no consequence of actually killing somebody other than the benefits of getting what they've got. You see, people say they want survival games realistic, but then forget about this. Realistically, if you see somebody, that person has the benefit of being a companion for you, that you can achieve something greater. I mean, people need people to literally stay sane, or you end up talking to your dog, like I Am Legend. What these game devs also forget is that people have different skills. Like, if you worked as a mechanic, or you worked as a doctor, or if you were a school teacher, or something like that before the zombie apocalypse, you've got a totally different skill set. Most people wouldn't know how to set a broken leg, or set it correctly so it actually heals. A doctor might be able to, some doctors perhaps wouldn't. But it's things like that which give worth to other people, that they have skills which you perhaps don't have. But you see, that's a difficult one as well, because if you've got 4 friends, you can just choose one of each skill set yourself. So you can't let people choose what skills they have, because that advantages groups over individual players. So I mean, I guess the only way you could actually do that is to give somebody a random, unchangeable skill set for a couple of days, so they couldn't just kill themselves, relog and get a different one. It would make it like The Walking Dead, where you have to actually go and talk to people to see whether or not they've got a skill set that you want. That it actually initiates that interesting part of the game, which is like meeting other people in it. It's like Joe's group in The Walking Dead. You know, the reason they didn't kill Daryl initially is because he looks like the kind of guy who could help them survive. So if you're even a bandit group like them, you'd have to see if other people have skills that can benefit you, and the only way you can find out is by talking to them. You could even pretend you were something else. Like, you could say you're a police officer by putting on a police uniform, and then actually not be one, just so you could fit in with a certain different group of people. You could basically be Eugene from The Walking Dead with this, like fit in with a group just so you can survive on, even if it's a lie. The H1Z1 team have suggested putting in a karma system, like the hero and bandit outfit system in DayZ mod. As we saw with that of course doesn't work at all. Literally 1% of players might decide to choose to be good for a bit to play as a hero. The vast majority will play by the easiest playstyle, which is shooting somebody in the back before they've got a chance to talk to you, because then you're guaranteed their loot. I also don't like that system because it forces you to play as a certain style. What if one day you wanted to play just shooting people and the other day you wanted to help people? You've only got one character on each server, so you're kind of forced to play a certain playstyle if you want to achieve this karma system idea. Killing also has no detriment in the game, which a lot of people think it shouldn't have, because then it forces you to play as the good guy. It actually doesn't force you to play as the good guy, because you can still kill people, but realistically, you'd lose your mind, like the governor does in The Walking Dead. Because he's killed so many people and he's lost his daughter and he's seen all of these things that if you were totally alone and you just shot everybody on sight, you would lose your mind to that. So perhaps people who play just hardcore banditry the entire time because they get the benefit of collecting more of people's loot, maybe they should have to have something like the drugs that are in the game, which cause like a hallucinogenic effect to sort of suppress the fact that they were losing their minds, or they might get the shakes or something, just so that it isn't the default easy playstyle. And anybody who's played any of these survival games knows that it is. That's why the vast majority of people do it. And the thing is, you're missing out if you do, because the best experiences in all of these games have always, I mean, just look back through this channel, which has been largely based on them, all the best experiences I've had have always come from some sort of interaction with other people, not just shooting them in the back. But anyway, I'm sure this gameplay was boring as ass, but hopefully the commentary had something interesting in it. Guess we'll find out from the comments. But anyway guys, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next chapter.